has signed an executive order that officially makes him a king. Watch this video.
Lastly, we have another executive order that President Trump signed relating to independent agencies. This executive order would establish important oversight functions in the Office of Management and Budget and its subsidiary office, OIRA, supervising independent agencies and many of their actions, and also reestablishes the longstanding norm that only the President or the Attorney General can speak for the United States when stating an opinion as to what the law is.
Okay, first of all, it is Congress's job to make the law. It is the judiciary's job to enforce the law. And what he is saying is, I'm taking from the Congress, I'm taking from the judiciary, and I am now the law. This cannot stand. And I'm hopeful, like there's just a spark of hope for me that the Supreme Court will not allow this to continue, that there has been some awakening on that court. The total immunity that they have handed him has made him think he is a king. I'm hopeful, a little bit optimistic, but I mean, this is jaw-dropping, even in the Trump administration.
Number one, I don't share your optimism about the Supreme Court, sadly. I feel like we're in a situation where I'm starting to question how many people are compromised. How deep is this collusion that begins in Moscow and ends in Washington? How deep is it? Because the Supreme Court, single-handedly, when they did the immunity case, it lit a fire in the Trump campaign. And Musk, the Supreme Court, and Vladimir Putin were bound and determined to get that man reelected, get him out of prison, and to slow play all of his criminal cases. So he could have been tried. The Jack Smith cases could have gone forward. The Supreme Court did that. Supreme Court slow played those. So I have zero, and I mean zero faith in the Supreme Court. Does Trump have a translator on every single executive order he signs when everybody in the room is trafficking in the English as their first language? It goes from the Oval Office to there. You're a big boy. Get your big boy pants on. Say what your executive order is. Say it with your own mouth. Buck stops with you, big guy. Why do you have some dipshit, weirdo, crusty white guy following you around translating everything you're doing? And that's just, it looks so weak, but that's just a personal petty grievance of mine that I can cling on to because the Supreme Court shit is so overwhelming to me. I hope that your optimism is right. I really do.
Well, here's the deal. I know that Clarence Thomas, Sam Alito, Neil Gorsuch, they're in the tank. There's no question. But I'm putting all my faith in the handmaid and Chief Justice Roberts. So, I mean, the bar is very low. I mean, but that's what we've got. So moving on to after we saw the absolute debacle. Speaking of a translator, Elon Musk did all the talking for Trump on the Fox interview. It was embarrassing for the United States. It was embarrassing for Fox News. But this is what Steve Bannon, who is the rah-rah leader of Musk, and I just want to say, I think Steve Bannon is despicable. But I have a sliver of hope that MAGA listens to Steve Bannon on his War Room podcast. And I also just want to comment for the permanent record that Steve Bannon just pleaded guilty to fraud, and now this is what he's saying about Elon Musk. Steve Bannon on Elon Musk. Musk is a parasite, illegal immigrant. He wants to impose his freak experiments and play act as God without any respect for the country's history, values, or traditions. So there you have it. Like one convicted felon supporting another convicted felon, doesn't like Trump's new boyfriend.
Elon Musk is parasitic, and there's no question about it. He's received $20 billion worth of government subsidies. The MAGA movement, when you think about this, is pro South African immigrant running the country and colluding with Russian Vladimir Putin. And to all of the MAGA people out there and the MAGA people in our lives, you have agency over how you consume news and vetting your news. And if all you do is go down this crazy ass pro-Putin propaganda, I'm certain with everything in me that all roads are leading to a Musk and Putin collusion. Steve Bannon, bizarrely, we find ourselves strange bedfellows with. But I think some of this is jealousy. But as crazy as I think Steve Bannon is, he's not a dumbass. And he's crazy dumb, but he's actually kind of bright. And he sees what Musk is doing. And that's why Musk and Trump are moving so rapidly and disorienting. And part of that flood the zone is Steve Bannon's playbook. And Steve Bannon is the one that said, yeah, we fled the zone. We fled the zone. Steve Bannon has been replaced by somebody far more nefarious and far more dangerous than he is. And he's been replaced by Elon Musk.